everyone, welcome to Wild Moments powered by Explore.org. It's me, Trishala, and we are finally joined by none other than Ali. Hi, Ali.
Hi Trish, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? What happened? Did the cat go
Good.
onto your laptop?
You laugh, but we had some words. He's decided now he is lying behind us to see.
We lost you for a little bit, but we got the gist of it. You and the cat had words. If you're not sure what we're talking about, Ali has recently adopted an older cat that has been an outdoor cat and then trying to make him an indoor cat. So there's been some trouble in paradise there. But things are getting better. Anyway, remember that we're live and interactive, so send through your questions and your comments. I love hearing from all of you. And if this is the first time that you're joining us, this is when we go through some really cool clips. And I might add that this week we have some really nice ones. And then we can discuss some behavior, just gawk at how silly some animals can be, or be in awe of some of the beauty that we see here in Africa. Anyway, to start us off, Rolling Trouble, you say hello, Trishal and Ali from Washington. You've got your coffee and your water on hand. Like it. Adu, you said you made it yesterday. You made it yesterday afternoon also, but you've got it right this afternoon with your coffee. Sorry, I got a little confused there. Trainer Matt 51, you say good morning from North Carolina, USA. Zygote, you say namaste to both Ali and I. Namaste to you too, Zygote. Bob from Kalamazoo, you say happy Thursday to the dynamic duo. We're so dynamic. We are
Oh,
so
look at us
dynamic.
though, Trish. Yay.
And obviously, the only appropriate response was for us to do a above shoulder dance. Obviously,
Yeah, clearly. This is why
yeah.
we're connected. It's, everything we could do.
Karu, you say hi to both Ali and I. And then Mary Momo, you say hello from a wet Hot Springs, Arkansas. You've got a tall glass of water and you're ready to roll. And you're also letting us know that you had baseball-sized hail here last night and really did some damage in the cars, homes, and trees. I'm sorry to hear that.
That sounds great.
I hope that everybody is safe,
Mm-hmm.
even if the possessions are not so safe. Anyway, let's get this show on the road. To start us off, we have a very cool clip of some of our favorite animals. You know, it's so hard to pick favorites, but when it comes to it, I love the unusualness of a porcupine, and we had some at Old Donyo. Oh,
Look at those little ones.
oh, oh, oh my gosh. I didn't know they were going to be little ones.
Yeah, Kurz did not tell us the full story, did she? This was a nice
No.
surprise. Oh, they're so adorable. I actually The last time I saw a porcupine was already in, I want to say March, April, and before then I hadn't seen one in ages. So it's actually really nice that
Oh,
the three of them came to drink because they are fairly
yeah.
common fish all around sort of southern Africa, but we don't really see them all that much because of their nocturnal habits. And you would assume that we just see them more, and then you see these random photos popping up of them fighting leopards in the Kruger National Park, and I've never seen something like that.
I know, neither have I. The most porcupines I've seen, I mean, I see them quite often here in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, but
Lucky you.
it's not the environment that I usually want to see them in. I see them visiting people's yards, doing some landscaping in people's gardens late at night if you're driving home. Oh,
The one on the right-hand side is quite funny, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, bye guys. You're so cute. We love you.
You're saying exactly what I'm thinking.
You're
So
welcome.
we were we've been having this discussion about whether they are Cape porcupines or whether they're crested porcupines. Oh wait, let's just watch this thing little. Oh yeah, you go. Oh my goodness, how cute. Sure, a baby porcupine, if you didn't know, is called a porcupet, which I think is just adorable.
That was
Oh.
too much.
So we were thinking about, could this be a crested porcupine or a Cape porcupine? And we've been, both of us, both Ali and I, have been doing some research, and I I still wouldn't be able to tell. Apparently, there is a line of white quills uh, towards the rear on the midline. Looking at photos of crested porcupines, I was not able to see that white line of quills. Looking at these, I'm not able to even see if I
I
can.
mean,
You know what I mean?
there is an obvious wide line of, almost it looks like a wide lines of quills at the bottom of, this little porcupine's bum. But I don't know if that's what
Yeah,
they're referring to.
exactly.
And then the other thing is that apparently the crest is quite obvious, but also Cape porcupines have that crest, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. And then we, of course,
Exactly.
try to do a cross reference, trying to see, okay, so where does one live and where does the other one live? Because that's generally also a good indication of where you can find either or. But the problem is
Hmm.
Kenya seems to have an overlap between the two.
Yeah.
And because it's not considered an endangered species, there haven't really been any sort of updated population studies done, or distribution, I should say. Sorry, I was looking for the word
Yeah.
distribution. So, take your pick.
And I mean, they're so similar in so many ways that a lot of the time, as researchers, you kind of think, well, there's sufficient information out there. If somebody wanted to do distribution studies, particularly on crested porcupine, uh, it would have to be somebody who's really interested in porcupines. And like you said, because they're not an endangered species, because their biology and their size and their anatomy and the way they look is so similar to the Cape porcupine, it's sort of kind of left behind. And then also, I was looking at trying to figure out if there's a size difference. Now, initially, when I first come across the crested porcupine, I read that the crested porcupine was slightly larger than the Cape porcupine. Then recently, I read that the Cape porcupine is slightly rather larger than the crested porcupine. So I have no idea which we're looking
Yeah,
at.
I think I went through the same stages. I think more reputable, so not Wikipedia sites, say that the Cape one is slightly larger, and they both sort of overlap in Kenya a little bit, but it's just very hard to tell because they look essentially the same. So
Yeah,
I suppose it's one of those tricky ones. The IUCN doesn't really have a great distribution on them either. So I suppose there is a chance that it is a crested porcupine, which would be really cool because it would be a first time for me. Well, it's actually my first time seeing porcupine on the cams, I think. But if it were a crested one, it would be very cool. But because we don't,
yeah.
or I don't get to see porcupine that often, then I was very happy for it to be any porcupine. Independently of everything, whichever one it is, Africa's largest rodent, which is, the takeaway from the
Yes,
porcupine family.
exactly, exactly. Jasmine 57, you say hi Trish and Ali. Rolling Trouble, you say, wow, it was wow indeed. Zygote, you say that was so special. I agree with you. We were very surprised to see those two little ones by Mum's side. So cute. And the way they just kind of trotted away. Very cute. Mary Momo, you'd like to know, what is the normal litter size of porcupines? This is the first time seeing a family. I'm not sure what the normal litter size would be.
I
Um,
think two is like average. Yeah.
yeah, I would say so too, because they're also quite large at birth. So,
Mm.
at least from what I understand, for Cape porcupines, a porcuped is about a kg, weighs about a kg at birth. And I say quite large because comparatively, that is pretty like a pretty significant birth weight. And
Mm.
crested porcupines, porcupets weigh about half of that. So if the weight of the offspring is quite large or quite heavy at birth, they usually will not have, seven of them because that's a lot of resources. So I'd say probably two is average.
Yeah. Generally 1 to 2. I would say that's the general average. I mean, there are the rare
Uh,
occasions of schools where they'll maybe have one more, but what we saw is a good effort.
yeah, I think that is a good effort. Um, let's have a look now at our next clip. Now, this one is from Nkoro, and it is a male lion. We're going to try and see if we know who it is.
I like when they walk and they know exactly what they're looking at. You know, that lion is
Oh,
definitely
wow.
looking at this camera.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful.
I
That
think,
one sec. I
well,
don't
if
want
you're
any part of
wondering, yeah, if you're wondering about all the flashes at the back, those are not the cameras. This is likely that there are game viewing vehicles looking at the lions, because of course this is in front of the lodge. So I'm sure the guys, as they drove back to the lodge after their afternoon safari, were very happy to see the lions there. Maybe not as inquisitive as the lions are of the camera.
So apparently, this is the Imbali Pride. The only Imbali associated lion that I know is the S8 male or the Imbali male, which is the dominant male of this pride, but also the dominant male of the Telemati pride, which is the one that I'm more familiar with, also in the northern Sabi Sand. But I don't think
Well,
I've ever met the Imbali pride itself.
no, I think the Mbali Pride is generally not around this area, and they so from what I've read, because funny enough, you know the way things work out. Line today about these lions specifically that saying that the Mbali Pride they've of course been pushing sort of south into this area, which is not the normal area that they're generally in. But it also
Hmm.
seems that that is a response to the pressure of new males that seem to have taken over the pride. So from where I
Ah.
understand, and I could be mistaken, maybe I misread something, but the S8 male was the dominant male of this pride, and now he's been pushed away by another two males that have sort of taken dominance. And if that is the case, then it would make sense to see particularly younger males to push into other territories and other areas. It's gonna bite the camera. um, just because younger males would not be tolerated by new males that have taken over unless they are their
Mhm.
offspring. So I hope I'm not making this up. If I do, I'm sorry.
No,
But that
no, I
is,
think.
I believe that that is the dynamic of this pride, or what the dynamic has been in the last while, which is really interesting.
Whoa!
Oh,
Oh, Kirst has really kept some juicy secrets under wraps. We had no idea that this is what that the lions would be looking at the camera and even touching it. I want to
and
see
now the
what
world is upside down.
exactly. I want to see that end bit again.
I see nothing, but it's interesting because how many lions have we seen around these cameras that don't really react? So I don't think these
Yeah,
lions. I mean, they're obviously not scared of the camera, but they're quite interesting and curious. So they're like, nope, boom, off you go, because it's not something that they see all the time.
yeah. Oh, that is so epic. Like being able to see the lion's face and its eyes close up like that, and then actually interacting with the cam. I think that's so special.
I I was not expecting that. You know, that one slap
The
is in like I
swat.
said, no camera, stop looking at me.
Jasmine57 says that the Mbali Pride are on Juba right now, actually.
Okay, well that's nice because they've gone from one camera to the next, and
I find
they've
it,
gone quite.
you know, lion dynamics in the northern Sabi Sand have been all over the place for me. There's the Telematis and the Telemati breakaways. There are Nkahumas and Nkahuma breakaways. The Mbali Pride never met. Now they're on Juma. Then there's the S8 or the Mbali male. Then there's the Black Dam male. There's just so much movement happening, and
Hmm.
I unfortunately have not been there consistently enough to be able to keep up with it. And so I really appreciate your what you told us now about the other males coming into the Mbali Pride, and then that being the reason that S8 has been pushed towards the Tilamatis. But now, if they're on Juma as well,
Yeah, you never
who knows?
know. It's fascinating with lion dynamics because if you watch them over a period of time, everything you think you know and then everything seems very settled, and all of a sudden it's chaos everywhere, and there are new lions popping in, as you were saying. There's been the black tie males, the avoca males. Then there was oh, what's the name of that male that lived in the west of the Sabi Sand that also appeared there for a little while? I can't remember now. He's well, his name, his ID that he's known as. He was with the Ottawa Pride. I can't remember.
Oh,
Yeah, my memory.
yeah.
But there's just so much, and I wonder if some of it responds to the fact that they were a lot of sub-adult males. So I think after the drought that we had and everything, so all of the lion dynamics have been pretty smooth. And then, of course, everybody's got sort of older cubs. They're all 2 and 3. So now they're in danger because now if new males come through, then you've got to move them. And what do? Then they're bigger. They can move around a little bit more. So they start exploring new areas like Nkoro, because the Talamatis were generally the ones that used to be at Nkoro and all that area.
Mhm.
And the Torchwood
Yeah.
part. So where are the Torchwoods?
Yeah. And actually, yeah, I haven't seen the Tortured Pride in some time.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, a lot going
You know,
on, a lot. But it's
it's hard to.
and I know it's hard to keep track of, especially if maybe you've not been there or you don't know the prides that we're talking about. It can be difficult to keep track, but it's lovely to do a little bit of research, or if you come across these things, you can get into line dynamics, and just like how Ali and I are talking right now, you can get quite into it, and it's really fun almost to try and figure out what's happening within within an area. Yeah. Jan Powers, welcome. You're a little late, as you say. You're late, but you made it, and thank you to both of us. Rolling Trouble, you saying, "Stop staring at me." Are you talking? Is that the camera talking, or is it the lion talking, or is it you talking? Rolling Trouble. I mean, that's how I felt as well. I felt like I wanted to look away. What's
Yeah,
wrong?
it's
Why
just
are
like,
you
I'm
looking at
sorry,
me
I
like
didn't mean to look at you directly.
Suki V from the UK, you say you nearly forgot. Ish, you're skidding in. Hello, all. You made it. We kept a seat for you. Mary Momo, you say you're dying. It's too funny. It is. It's really funny when they interact with the cameras like that. Jasmine 57, you also say that there's two males and 5 females in the Mbali Pride currently, and I'm assuming those are the individuals that you have on your map at the moment. You know, if you want to get into lion dynamics, maybe talk to Jasmine 57. It seems sweet. Um, Rolling
The
Trouble, you say
insider.
exactly the insider. Rolling Trouble, you say wonder if they heard the sound of the cam. It's possible. I mean, I've heard the sound of the camera driving past it before, as it goes. "Ee, ee."
Yeah, and I mean, if we can hear it, imagine them with their sense of hearing that is a bit amplified.
Yeah. Oh, that is just so beautiful. And apparently, we also saw the Inkahumas on the Nkoro cam last month. So definitely a lot to keep you busy if you want to get into the lion dynamics of that
They're
area.
just everywhere, aren't
So
they?
much. Anyway, let's head on to our next clip. It's a baby Ellie who's having a bit of trouble. I feel like every time I introduce a baby Ellie clip, they're having a bit of trouble.
It's
Oh
hard being a
no,
baby Ellie, Trish. That's why.
it is. Oh, you've got a good stick.
Actually, you almost want to go and help it and be like, you almost had it right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is too much.
And their trunks look low, so like, soft and cuddly with no control. Just
Although this one seems pretty okay, all things considered. It doesn't, it's trying to coordinate feet and trunk, and okay, maybe that's not what it's intended to do, but
but I love when baby Ellie. Oh, it's there's a lot of control with dropping the trunk as well, but they don't quite have that, and it just kind of falls the trunk. after they pick something up, it's just kind of like down on the ground. Oh,
I wonder, it looks very funny because I wonder if this baby elephant hasn't, I mean, I don't think it's trying to get there. It must be trying to get down to the mud for water. They cheat when they don't know how to use their trunks properly. But by the movements and what it's doing, it almost reminds me, and it's very likely been seeing the older elephants when they go down on the mud and then they use their tusks to remove or sort of to move the mud around or to
yeah.
loosen it from the soil. It almost, and then he was like, "Oh, I have no tusks here. This is not working." Like what it's doing now. What are you doing?
I'm practicing for when I have some tusks.
Little one, might be another year or two before we even start seeing them. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Yay!
well done.
Oh, look at that. I think it properly drank like a big elephant.
Yeah.
Ah. So I suspect then this is a bit of an older elephant. Let's say, what do you think, Trish? About 2 years old. It's already have some ability.
Yeah, and it is actually it's quite tall. Oh, so cute.
Well done,
You know, they
little
get
elephant.
it's like between a year and a bit and 2 years. They're still very small looking, but they're a little bit tall. And this one looks tall. Oh, don't slip in. Also,
Yeah,
look
and
how
I mean,
small the grabs are. The grabs of the water, tiny grabs.
well, it's hard. Maybe it's almost like it gets scared. It's like, oh, I did it, and then just I'm not sure how to do this just yet. It must be a very strange thing to have a trunk, as you think about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you have 4 limbs and then another limb-like structure. Like a lot of
But you need
work.
for everything. That's very,
That was so.
that's very.
Rolling Trouble, you say, "Oh my God, so cute." Trainer Math, you say exactly the same thing, and then PM Devolved, you say, "Baby elephant trunks look like noodles." They do look like noodles, very much so. Oh, this is an interesting question, not related to the elephant or noodles or cuteness. But Nurse Phillips, you would like to know, is there any way to tell the difference between a male and female striped hyena just by looking at them? We see them at Oldonyo. As far as I know, there isn't a way by looking at them if they don't have their genitalia erect, essentially. Um, Female striped hyenas don't have a pseudopenis. So, when we look at spotted hyenas, we know that both male and female genitalia look the same. So, striped hyenas, when they're adults at least, females have female looking genitalia and males have male looking genitalia. When they are younger, though, it's not quite the same. But as adults, they have very sex defining genitalia. So, unless it's out and about and ready for you to look at, we're not going to be able to tell the difference. Even in terms of size, I don't think there's a huge difference between the sexes. Ali?
No. Also, I find size is very difficult to determine just by looking at the
Exactly.
camera, unless you've got another individual to compare it to.
Exactly.
Like easiest
Yeah,
way would also be like if you find, you know, two hyenas together, and there is likely that is a female and a cub, but
exactly. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Me too. The greatest thing to look at is if you see it with cubs, then you know for sure. And then if you keep following that animal, you see an animal with cubs, then you know that's a female. You try and find some defining feature, and then next time you're watching the cams, or if you're in person, then you can identify that animal, at least know that it's a female because of something else you saw. But hyenas are difficult, not just spotted hyenas, but the whole Hyenidae family. They're difficult. Okay, it's the next one. It's one that Kirst loves. We all love a little bit of otter action. Let's go and have a look.
Hello.
Oh, hello, cutie. Oh, what's happening? Oh,
Either calling, possibly calling for something. Maybe for a young one,
maybe
because it looks like a female, maybe,
she's got,
doesn't it?
yeah, she's got very pronounced nipples.
So maybe it's desperately looking for her youngster.
I mean, she's also looking quite large around the milk duct area.
Oh, hi, Otter. Oh, what was that?
I think there was just a bit of kelp that popped up.
Yeah, yeah, just some kelp. Sorry, I thought there was, a monster in there. It does look
I
like,
also, when I thought, I was like, oh, Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, little otter. I don't know. I think it's looking for someone, Trish. It's too much
Um,
calling.
yeah, there's a lot of calling. So otters, Cape clawless otters, they're common. So this is at Stony Point, and here in Cape Town, where Stony Point is, it's just about 90 to 100 kilometers away from where I'm sitting right now. They're really, really common, and they live on land in little burrows called holts, and they live in very loose family groups. But imagine it like living in the same suburb as your family, as opposed to living in the same house. Oh, here we go.
Hello, you found your family.
Whoa, so many. Now they can be quite possessive about their personal space within that quote unquote suburb of theirs. So this is quite special. I've not seen Cape clawless otters together without some aggression, unless it was a mother and her young. But these are the other two still look quite big.
That's quite an interesting spot that they. But they surely they must know each other if they're allowing each other to be so close in each other's presence, or there's the best
Yeah,
food available in there. But then I would
they
imagine
they
something more aggressive.
wouldn't they would know each other definitely if they're in the same area, and probably will be related even distantly. But it might, like you said, they might just not be very aggressive to each other because there's some nice feeding. I mean, and even still, they're usually aggressive to each other, but doesn't mean that they're all showing some kind of aggression. They're still
Maybe there's a
family
dinner party.
at the end of the day. They look like they're going on a bit of an adventure.
Dinner party? I don't know.
Maybe somebody's got some fresh crab.
I don't know how to help you with
Love.
this one.
They're very, very cool. I've I've only seen them twice ever, and even then it was from a distance. But they're very cool to watch because they're always busy, you know, finding something, moving about, chasing something. It's always busy. Very, very
Yeah.
cool. And a last question, it's almost time to say goodbye. Amber Co, you'd like to know, how do the lion prides get their names? Is it by where they live and who names them? And that you love the babies today. Go for it. Would you like to take this one, Annie?
Well, generally, yes. Area where they're in, that generally determines their name. Generally, a lot of the times they will have the name either or of a prominent feature in the area that where they were first last seen in, like the Nkahuma Pride. The Mbali is from an area or a lodge in the area called Mbali. The Southern Pride in the southern part of the Sabi Sand gets the name because they're in the southern. And then sometimes if something happens, that will distinguish that pride from something else, like some sort of event and so on, like the breakaways and things like that, then you start getting the names. But generally it's the lodges or let's call it the permanent staff in an area that see them all the time, may it be rangers or
Yeah.
guides and so on, that name that particular pride because they're dominant creatures, they tend to, territorial creatures, they tend to stay in the same area. So you will know generations of them. So they'll just name them as in like, the Mbali pride is the dominant pride at Mbali Lodge. And then they do funny
Yeah.
things like move out of the area where they're supposed to be, and they are getting more interesting.
Yeah, that sums it up. Anyway, I thought that these clips were really, really cool. The porcupine and the otter, and the lion as well. Seeing it interact with the camera and
Winners.
all that, I think it was winners, absolute winners. Lovely clips. And thank you all for joining us. Thanks for your questions and your comments as usual. So we'll see you again soon. Bye for now, everyone.